Hi, this is Dr. Film speaking. And no, I'm not qualified to be a musician, or a singer, or an actor.
Man, I'm pretty.
Before we begin, you should know that this review will contain no spoilers. And if you're new to the channel, please subscribe for reviews and more. And so, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let us begin reviewing Priscilla.
Cast and characters.
Let's first take a look at our main star of this film, Priscilla Presley, played by Callie Spaney. She did a great job portraying Priscilla, a young woman thrust into the world of Elvis Presley. She did well portraying someone who loves Elvis earnestly with all her heart. But as the film goes on, she becomes lonely, isolated, and deprived from having freedom. You can feel every bit of emotion that she's feeling, and you would find her so relatable given the circumstances she's in. As for Elvis Presley, played by Jacob Elordi, he did a good job portraying Elvis than I expected. Now granted, before this movie came out, I wasn't sure about this actor being chosen to play Elvis in this movie. I mean, I didn't really find his movies that great, to be honest. But as soon as I watched this movie, he took me by surprise. He did well portraying Elvis in his own way. Although, there were at times where his Elvis accent sounded a bit off, but despite that, I still find his performance in this movie quite well. But there's no way he can top my Elvis impression.
Hit it!
Cinematography and story.
Now you gotta give it to the filmmakers for the cinematography. They did well capturing some memorable shots, especially in scenes where you see Priscilla all alone. You can feel her isolation and loneliness every time Elvis goes away for another movie or for another concert. It's almost as if she's being held like a prisoner, like she has no other choice but to wait for Elvis. Now for the story. For those who don't know, this story is based on the 1985 memoir, Elvis and Me, written by Priscilla Presley. And I think what gave this story an advantage in this movie was the fact that it was all from the perspective of Priscilla. When you think about it, all this time, all these years, we've always taken such an interest in Elvis's perspective, but we never really asked ourselves, what was Priscilla's perspective in all this? What was her perspective on their relationship and such? And this story did a great job illustrating this love story from Priscilla's perspective. And the film does well establishing that from the beginning, their relationship was not exactly healthy. However, I'm not gonna lie, there were some pacing issues, and I feel like the story never really touched upon Priscilla's relationship with her parents. I mean, don't get me wrong, in the beginning, her relationship with her parents was established, but later on, it feels like the film sidelined Priscilla's parents just so we can focus solely on Priscilla and Elvis. I feel like the story should have touched more upon that. You know, just to give us this sense of where her relationship stands with her parents, especially after her marriage. But despite all that, I think the story was well written and well crafted. But it was still freaking sad, man. It was freaking sad!
My son died.
Overall, my friends, this movie took me by surprise. And I mean that in the best way. What made this movie stand out was the performances, the cinematography, the story, the direction. All of it was done so well by the same people who put in the extra effort into this movie. Although, I feel like they should have waited for this film to be released in 2024 or 25, because the movie Elvis came out in 2022. It can leave some people confused and draw comparisons between both of these movies, which isn't a good thing for this movie. And let's be honest, this movie isn't the first to attempt to take a look at Elvis and Priscilla's relationship. And despite some of the hiccups this movie has, I still thought it was worth the watch. And what makes this film separate from the other movies and such was its sense of style and direction. Sofia Coppola knew what she was doing when she took on the role as the director for this film. And if I have to be honest, this was an intriguing, emotional experience. And that's saying something. If you haven't gotten the chance to watch this movie, I recommend checking it out, and let me know what you think. With all that said, I give Priscilla an 8.5 out of 10. Well guys, that's the end of my review. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a like, And please follow me on Instagram for updates on my channel, and you can also follow me on TikTok for trailer reactions and more. And as always, I will see you guys at our next appointment.